When it dies, that is when it germinates. If it does not die, it will not germinate. So at the point where Julio realized that something was wrong with him, at that point, his heart died. So he needed something fresh to generate out of that. And when you discover that there's a problem with you, then you can open up now for a change in life. But if you don't discover the problem you have, then there's no opportunity for you to receive change. Your heart follows a certain path. And at the point where Julio realized something was wrong with him, that is the point of death. Said his miserable future. So that's the point of death. So his heart began to break down after realizing that. When you know that you have a problem, now you will be ready to get solutions. So when somebody is talking, somebody wants to give you solution, you will accept it. But if you don't know you have a problem, there's no need for solution. So at that point where he realized that something was going to happen, he was going to die, at that point, everything that was said, his heart was now open to listen to the word. In life, many a time we try so hard to make it. We try to succeed, we work so hard, we put in so much energy. But why is it that we put in so much energy but we are not getting the success that we really want? It's because we don't know the world of the heart. And that is why we have that problem. If we know the world of the heart, we know how the heart moves, then that will be a way to help us to solve the problems that we have. Just like we have the river, the river has the path that it follows. In the same vein, your heart also has a path that it follows. I'm not talking about the physical organ. So that somebody saw my heart is here, I know where it is, not following the path. If you have a broken heart, if you've ever had a broken heart before, you know. If you've ever lost a loved one and you felt so much pain, you know the kind of heart that we're talking about. So even though you put in so much energy, you are not successful because you don't know the world of the heart, which we are looking at. And in the path of the heart, those who think they are right, they are good, they are excellent. We think like that. For me, I am good, I am right, I am excellent. If you have this kind of heart, when people talk, would you listen? If you think you know it all, you are good, you are excellent, then there's no point to listen to anybody. And that is the path that your heart is following. And in the end, you are going to get rude. But those who know that they could be wrong, they are bad, they have failed, if they accept it, then there will be the need to change. Those who think that they have it all, when you speak, they select. When you start giving them ideas, they pick the ones they want and leave some out. But if I know that for me, I am ruined already, my life is completely dead and I need help. If someone comes to help, I'll be willing to take that help from the person. So your heart flowing in the direction where you think you know it all is detrimental. But those who know that they have failed, then they have to listen to all the words you speak. At your various groups, when your leaders speak to you, do you take the things they say or you select some and then leave out some? How bad is it when you decide to pick some of the things and then leave out some? If you need 100% and you pick 99, you are running short of something. So in the path, there's a need for you to realize that you can't have everything by yourself. You will need help. And having that mindset is great. With high education, you learn, get the degrees, PhD and all, make money. With all of that, you can be successful in your own way. But if you don't have knowledge about the world of the heart, then there's a problem. So life is happier, or you become happier in life if you know about the world of the heart. And that can happen if you go through mind education. So you know clearly how to take the steps. It's not an event, it's a process. So you don't sit one day and then as you go, now I have it all. I am a mind specialist, so I have all the knowledge and I'm better and I don't need anybody's help. I also need someone to help me. It's a process. I know that I don't have it all, so every now and then I have to learn. And that heart is important. We need to recognize that there will be somebody who is better than us in everything we do. With that heart, you humble yourself and then you will learn. You'll be asking, then how can we become happy? The way to success. How can we become happy in life? We want to be happy, we want to be successful. So some of you will be asking that question, so how is that going to work? Who knows about this fish? I'd like to share a story about the fish we call the koi fish. Anybody has heard of the koi fish? Yeah, what can you say about the koi fish?
This the little I know about the koi fish is that any bowl or the size of the portion you give to it in a river, that is how it grows. So if you give it a large size of water, it grows according to the bowl or the portion. Thank you.
Let's put our hands together for it. So people are reading, and sometimes you get to a point you ask yourself, what have you been reading at all? But it's fine. You know what you know, and a lot of people don't know that one too. But just know that there are people who know better than you. Don't be depressed. Brother, thank you. So the koi fish, as he stated, if you put it in a fish bowl, I mean a small bowl, it will grow just between 5 centimeters to 8 centimeters. That is it, in a bowl, small bowl. That is how big it can grow. And the same fish, when you move it out of the bowl, the small bowl, and then you place it in a river, look at the size. Then it will now grow between 15 to 25 centimeters. And you'll be wondering, is that all? That's not all. Move the koi from the river or the pond and then send the koi to the sea. Then you see that the koi will grow between 90 centimeters to 120 centimeters. It's the same fish, but the condition is determining its conduct and how it should be. That's how our life is. Most of you think that me, I can only earn in class 1, but actually you are not cut out only for class 1. It's just that the environment you find yourself, you are, excuse me, say, a village champion. So you think that's all. But if only you are exposed, you realize that, oh, I could actually do better than I am doing. So there's a need for you to challenge yourself and go higher. The fish we saw earlier went through all these stages and it was able to develop, become bigger and better for consumers. How about your life? What limit have you given to yourself? Some of you have told yourself, me, I'm done. There's nothing more, I'm finished. And when you wake up, you tell me, I don't need anything anymore. After all, what is it? But the fact that you don't need anything does not mean that others don't need you for something. If you avail yourself, probably you have enough, but if you get more, that will be of benefit to others. So there's a need for you to challenge yourself. And just like the koi fish, you can move from one stage to the other and then get better. There's a need for you to know your roots. That's the root of the mind. Trees have roots, and that is what keeps them. If the tree is not having a root, it's difficult for the tree to stand. So we see a beautiful tree and we are so much happy about it, but what is holding the tree there is the root. What is your root? Have you ever asked that question? Have you asked yourself what your root is? What nourishes you? As you see in your life, you live your life, what is nourishing you? What do you tap from? So there's a need for you to have a root, just like the trees. Earlier, I spoke to you about Helen Keller. And I told you about someone who helped Helen Keller. That person acted like the root for Helen Keller. So even though she could not speak here, she was able to be successful in life because of the roots she had. You need a mentor. Everyone needs a mentor. Everyone needs someone until the world comes to an end. Don't think that you are an island. So somebody needs to be there for you, and you also need to be there for someone. If your roots are weak, then you will have problem. Some of you, those you have as your mentors, not the government. Those you have as your mentors, they are as weak as anything you can think of. So they have no better influence on your life. But you need to change your roots so that you can have a deep root. That is Anne Sullivan trying to teach Helen Keller how to communicate with her senses. Because if she cannot see, hear, or speak, there should be a way she can communicate. And I read somewhere that for Helen to identify the letter E, it took Anne Sullivan 2 years for her to teach Helen that. So you can see how difficult it is, but they didn't give up. Because Anne Sullivan was determined to help Helen Keller. There are a lot of people who are determined to help you, but you are not availing yourself. So you are there thinking there is no help, but there's help all over the place. If you have a problem, how about you talk about the problem? You tell people, I have this problem. Somebody may be willing to help you, but you want to keep it to yourself until you can't handle it anymore. Then you say, after all, what's life? Let me take my life. And then you die, leaving your dependents there to suffer. And some will curse your grave. You know, some go to the grave, they curse their. I know a friend who will go to their mom's grave and curse the mother, curse the father. Because he's always drunk. When he gets drunk, he goes there and he will curse the graves. You know, I don't wish that for you. So you need to have a mentor. When she was young, she said, I am only one, but I am still one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. I will not refuse to do something I can do. Even though she had challenges, but she thought of things that she could do, and she focused on those things. And because she focused on those things, it was okay for her to move through the challenges. Nobody is promising you a problem-free life. But what you need is the faith to go through the problems when they come. That is what's important. There is no joy in easy sailing. If it's all rosary, you're on the sea and you are, having it all. There's no joy. But when the turbulence comes and you keep going, rolling back and forth, then you can come back and you also have a story to tell, rather than having the jolly ride, which amounts to nothing. In this world, we have so many desires in our heart. Sometimes we have the desire today, tomorrow then we think of another desire. We quench it and then we keep going back and forth about the desires that we have in life. And we are asking ourselves, how can we make it in life? But have you thought of the things that you have in you, the good things you have in you? Have you noticed those things? The fish does not need to climb a tree to show that it's also a good animal. Maybe you don't need to climb a tree, but you want to do that. So with the desires in your life, what is your comfort zone? If you had a goal and you live within your comfort zone, look at how difficult it is to get to your goal. Because you are in your comfort zone, everything should be easy for you, and that's it. So you never get to your goal because you are not challenging yourself enough. You are not putting yourself to the test. Some of you, you say, me, I don't want trouble. So who wants the trouble? Sometimes what is even coming is not trouble, but it's blessing in disguise. But you shut your heart. You say, I don't want to go through this. So you are in your comfort zone. Those who know about exercise, if you have to exercise, it's painful, troublesome. But the athlete will go the extra mile because he knows that in the end, he will be successful. We've heard of Usain Bolt, right? Until recently when he was beaten. Usain Bolt will spend so many hours to train. He doesn't say, I'm going to win. No. He says, I'll make this time. So when he's on the track, he's there to make that time. And by making that time, he becomes a winner. Because he trains over and over again, so it becomes a habit. He keeps training. And if at training you are making 9.6, then at the competition you can make 9.6 seconds. That's a human being running 100 meters. World record, even though he's been beaten by, he's having a world record. Someone will say, so within 1 minute he's making so much money. But that was not the case. He spent time to train. He spent time to go through the hustle. When you are sleeping and resting or doing whatever, he is training hard to make it. But within a split of a second, you see that he has performed, and then he has the laurels. What training are you taking yourself through? What challenge are you taking yourself? Is it work? Are you working harder? Is it education? Are you reading? Are you studying? Are you encouraging others the way you should? Leave your comfort zone, because in there you cannot achieve your goal. You need to challenge yourself, then you make it in life. Now I want to talk about the types of intelligence. There's a philosopher by name Gardner. He was able to identify 9 types of intelligence. And I think that we also need to know about these types of intelligence, so that you don't go telling somebody you are blocked and you are good for nothing. In a king's house, you don't have things made of only gold. The reason you are having a problem is because you are good, but you want to be gold. No point. So you struggle to be gold. You try changing your texture to be gold, but you can't make it. Then in the end, you are ruined completely. In the king's house, we have things made of wood too, and they have value. They have value. We have the gold, silver, bronze, wood, even sand. They have value. So Gardner identified these types of intelligence. Some of you may have more than one. Some of you may have one. But at least you should find yourself in one of them. There are people who want to go into space. So like spatial. They want to travel beyond. They want to see what is happening beyond the horizon. So they go into space. They leave this planet. Some go and don't come back. When I was in the teacher training, I read about a man called Husbands. When he was leaving, he had 2 children, and he told the wife that in case he doesn't come back, they should not forget that he loves them. And truly they went, and he didn't come back. They died. When they were coming, about 6 of them. If you heard in the news some time ago, they were coming, and then it was like steroids. Just flashed and then they died. They had to go into space. The desire is there. There are intelligence into that. But I'm not too sure that I will ever try going into space. But that's their desire, and that's fine. And they were able to get there. Some go and come back, and they tell us that this is it. We were told before we had 9 planets. Then they came again and told us now it's not 9, so it's 8. I don't know the current one. But they keep telling us, but when they go and come, then we have the stories. If you will not like that, we have what we call the intrapersonal. You should know yourself. Do you know yourself well enough? You know who you are, your likes and dislikes. Because you don't know these things, you keep hurting yourself and hurting others. You need to know who you are. That intelligence is important. There are people who know who they are, so they are able to maximize their potential because they know who they are and they know what they can do, and that helps them to maximize their potential. But you don't have that type of intelligence, so it's difficult for you to survive in life. Then we have the linguistic. People can speak well, not only English. Actually, English language is not a measure of intelligence. The fact that I can speak English very well does not mean I am intelligent. I'm just expressing myself. So there's a need for you to have that type of knowledge, where you can express yourself well. And you can see those who are able to express themselves well, they take up leadership roles and programs. You hear them speak every now and then. Then we also have the body kinesthetics. Here is where you find the athletes, the culture people. There are people who don't do well in class. When you talk about mathematics, they are not there. When you talk about science, they are not there. But put a ball there and ask them to score. In no time, they score. But some of us, if the goalpost is big and they put the ball there, there's no goalkeeper. If you want to kick the ball, our leg will go forward and the ball will go back. Some will not even be able to identify where the goalpost is. But others are able to do that. And that is where their intelligence lies. What have you identified for yourself as important, as a comparative advantage that you have over others? If you don't have the body kind of testing, can you have interpersonal where you can relate with people? There are people that you want to share your problems with, but others you will not dare go to them because they have like rubbish in them. So each time they want somebody so they can pour their rubbish on the person. They're always hurting, they're always using vocal words, they're always speaking words that do not motivate people. But those who have this type of intelligence are able to communicate well, they're able to relate well with others. So you see that they make a lot of friends. People who have this type of thing, they can make friends easily and they're able to influence a lot of people. Which one is yours? What about the logical or the mathematical? This is where the calculation is. You don't have to go to school before you can calculate very well. There's this landlady I had before. She was born 1912. Actually, she's still alive. And when she's sharing light bill, what she will do is that she will take the maize or corn. When you take it from the house, is it maize or corn? Well, I don't know. But it's taken from the house. So she will count it per the number of rooms. Then if you have 2 bulbs, she will put 2 there. So after doing all this, then she will put all together and divide it by the light bill. Then when you come, she will push 2 maize, so you have 2 bulbs. This is the amount. She has not been to school before, but she can do simple calculation and then she's good to go. So you don't have to necessarily be in classroom before you are educated. Mark Twain says you don't have to let schooling interfere with your education. There's a clear-cut difference between schooling and education. How about the musical? We saw 2 young ladies singing. They are able to sing very well. Some of you have good voice, you have great voice, you can sing. But you want to be in the math class and be failing all the time. And then people will be laughing at you. What's the point? If you don't know 2 plus 2, at least you know how to sing to make someone happy and make a living. So how about you concentrate on that? That intelligence is important. You need that to go. So if you can sing, avail yourself, get training and then get better. I don't know if you have heard, but IYF, we have the best choir in the world, known as the Gracias Choir. They'll be coming and then you hear them sing. And you will love it. I witnessed them here and then in South Korea. So if you can sing, you need to do that. Then we have the naturalists. There are people who like to take care of the environment. You know, they hate it when you have to destroy the environment. They have that intelligence. So they can take care of things and beautify the environment so well that they become happy. Some of us don't have that type of intelligence. So we can spray our garden with insecticides and kill them. And then later we'll call for the landscape developers to come and help us. Then we also have the existential. There are people who can meditate. They can go deep into the spiritual realm and meditate. And then they will think deeply. If I'm given a chance, I'll give a lecture on deep thinking too. They think deeply, and with that thought, they are able to solve problems in life. But we don't have much of these people. They are not that many. But if you have that intelligence where you can focus, you can meditate, pray. You are not always busybody. You don't have time to pray to God. You don't have time to listen to the voice of God. That intelligence is also important. And if you have all these, you are blessed. But you can have one and make it just like someone who has it all. You know, the Facebook man, Mark. He didn't go to school plenty, you know. Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, the Apple man. They were all school dropouts. But the fact that they dropped out of school does not mean they dropped out of education. You have to get that. Some of we, the young ones, after all, Bill Gates, he didn't go to school. So then we drop out of school. But we don't get education. So we are still where we are. When Bill Gates was out of school, or Steve Jobs was out of school, they were getting education into what they were doing, but they realized school was not helping them. Because where their mind was, the school, what they were teaching was not helping. But when you drop out of school, what do? You are just enjoying life with the little money you have. You are not adding anything to your knowledge. But these ones had time to study. They were not in a mainstream school. But he couldn't come out with a phone if he didn't study hard about it. He went deep into that knowledge, and then that helped him. So there's a need for you to also get more education, not necessarily schooling. So the fact that someone is not in school does not mean the person is not educated. That needs to be clear. Once again, we'll be asking, how can your heart flow? How can your heart flow? In our heart, we have walls. And because of the walls we have in our heart, it's difficult for the heart to flow. Some could be greed, selfishness. These are all walls. But if you let go of all these, then your heart will flow. You can help one another without feeling any pain. And then with the heart flowing, it's just like a river that is flowing. You see that it's fresh. But if the water is stagnant and it's not flowing, the more you keep dropping items in it, the more it becomes polluted. And it gets to a point nobody wants to do anything with that river, or no, with that water body, because it's stagnant. But if the water flows free, then impurities are gone. You need to open up your heart for God to get into your heart. And when you hear more of the word of God, that transforms your life. The negative thoughts you have will be moving away, and then the fresh thoughts will be coming into your life. Then your heart will begin to flow properly. I would like to end it here and then take a few questions if you have any. Thank you very much.